Good turnaround Tuesday, everybody. How's everyone doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So we're looking at the daily of US dollar yuan right here. And this is going to be very important. Potential right shoulder developing here. If that happens, risk on should continue. The neckline is going to be the breakout. The other scenario is we end up with another push to new highs, which is going to be most likely risk off into a third drive. So this is key to what happens in the S&Ps here. Really not much to make out of the S&Ps here. We're, ranging in here, rectangle. Again, same levels apply. 29.75 underneath even yesterday's low, which was 80, is going to give you an idea that there's something wrong in River City. Okay. US dollar yen is supporting this bounce. So far, we've come off the 38% level of this decline from last week's highs. Could we go 50%? I think I'm going to wait and see if that happens, maybe even 68 before I attempt sales. Although, the weaker the retracement, the weaker the market. So if it's only 38%, that actually locks in the weakness for the yen to travel back down to, which is what I'm eventually looking for, is 107 and then 106.30 or so of this breakout, which measured 109. We didn't achieve that. I'm a little bit tempted to try oil on a turnaround Tuesday. Since a big spike, we're really quiet in here. One of the rules in trading is never sell a sleeping market. And so far, this looks pretty comatose since all the action that we got last week. And I don't know if this was enough in the gold. I was looking for a rally up towards 1530-ish, 1535. Again, that's going to happen with the yen turning lower. So maybe that does happen in here from the 38% level, but nothing really jumping out at me. I think this is the most important chart here. Whether or not we get a right shoulder here or we blow to new highs is really going to set the tone. The second most important chart for risk and metals and yields is going to be US dollar yen. Let's take a quick look at the 10-year here. We're down a couple bips again. So here again, if this was a low, we're approaching what should be a higher low right around the 160 level. Doesn't have to get down there. But, just halfway back when you look at this from 320, and Steve and I were talking about this yesterday. So one heck of a move, right? So just in round numbers, 325, call it 180. 90 back would be right around this 230 level. So I think that would surprise a lot of people back here at 230, 240. The other scenario is that the yen really does fail, and then we get one more low to make new historic lows in the 10-year yield, which we already did in the 30-year. See, these were record low yields in the 30-year. 30-year, if it's going to bottom here, needs to dig in its heels right around here. Euro pound still looking ugly. Thought we might go to 78.6, and that could still be a possibility. It's not that far away. Where's that 78.6 come in? 86.74. So that's about 40 pips away. Anyway, let's see what's going on here. That's it. I think Blake is maybe taking a few days off. Not sure if he's on deck as we head into the Major League playoff season. Mr. October, Steve Volge. Oh no, that was Reggie Jackson. All right. Anyway,
he's only He's only away, briefly. He's going to be back tomorrow. Afternoon, he's going to be back. So it was like a fast visit to the fund.
Oh, okay. All right. So you've always been the cleanup hitter on ForexAnalytix anyway, man. So I don't know if you guys know about baseball. Do you play baseball in Greece?
Nope.
Not at all. But since I went to a Greek American school, we did have like a little bit. They felt like we
baseball?
Should know what the sport is about, but nobody cares.
All right.
Greek American school, and you still can't speak English, man. I mean, that's really
it's amazing, isn't it?
He just still has the roll of the tongue on a lot of the words, but he speaks it better than I speak any other
Greek
language.
For sure, better than you speak Greek.
Let's face it, most of us ugly Americans can barely speak American, which is English. We barely speak English, huh?
Yeah, everything has to do with motivation and necessity. Yeah. If your native language is English, obviously there's no necessity for you to learn, other language. I mean, it is definitely less than, if you are from a small country.
All right. So when I move to Greece, give me an opening line if I see a beautiful Greek woman.
Well, you can't do that because that's going to be my wife.
Oh, okay. Well, I promise you don't have to worry about that. Okay.
I give you a good line.
Because she'd have to be 20 years older than your wife anyway. Okay, buddy. You know how old I am. All right. Go ahead, Steve. Give me a line.
Okay. Now you destroyed that for me because you said beautiful.
Oh, because I said 20 years. All right. Okay. Let's go the other way. 20 years younger than Stelios's wife. It'd be like a midlife crisis trophy girlfriend.
Just tell her I'm too old for that shit.
That's all you have to say, huh? All right. All right. Well, I have down. So Steve, tell me you have something different to say today than you did yesterday. Do you?
Who's that? No.
Greg?
And not really. I mean, we have some things that have been moving. And Greg is going to be with us. Thank God, because since the market isn't moving, at least it's good if we get like a different perspective.
Some overviews,
Yeah, some overviews, from different types of analysis. Today we're going to have Greg with us. Tomorrow we're going to have Andre with us. So at least we can explore a little bit what's happening in the market from an Elliott wave today and from a harmonics perspective tomorrow.
Look, we have a at this.
Do.
We have a promotion going. I didn't know that.
We do. And you only have a few days left, so take advantage of that. 2 months in the price of one on the monthly, 25% off in the semi-annual plans, and 35% off in the annual plans. Also, something that is a win-win situation. If you decide to go with it, Dale, if you switch to our reimbursement program on the top right. We have a lot of people. Yesterday, again, somebody was asking about a broker, finding suitable broker. Do use the services of Forest Park FX with which we are affiliated. They are definitely going to help you make the right choice and save you money in the process. Plus, you either get cashbacks if you are in the US, or you get your ForexAnalytix subscription subsidized if you are outside the US. Coach, anything to add?
Yes, I took the decennial program. So anyway,
somebody's in a good mood today.
Yeah, I figure 10 years by then I'll be able to navigate. I'll be able to navigate around the site by then. I want to give myself a little time, and you guys some time to prove yourself to me. Okay, so anyway, tell me what you see, Steve. I'm kind of laying for a short in yen, and I'm kind of negative Swiss, but I traded it last week. I'm think I'm waiting for a rally. I might miss it. I still think there might be a little bit left in gold to the upside, and I'm wondering, where's your head at?
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So let me grab the screen. Stelio,
Sir. Okay.
why don't you start by giving us the overnight updates, and so we can then move to the charts.
Of course. So the main event, I think we can all agree, was the decision of Supreme Court in the UK about Boris Johnson's decision to suspend Parliament. And it has ruled that it was actually unlawful. So the Parliament is going to reconvene tomorrow, 11:30 a.m., I think, local time. The question that everybody was asking before the verdict was handed, basically, in the chat room was, is this going to be, if it's proved to be unlawful like it was, and if the Parliament comes back tomorrow, is that good or bad for the pound? And there are two, I was actually not, I was undecided, because there are two ways of looking at this. One is any kind of defeat for the government is not good. Right, it's not good for the pound, for the currency. That's the general rule of thumb, because it creates uncertainty, you know what's going to happen next. But in this occasion, the market seems to think that because of this event, and now Parliament's going to be in session tomorrow until the 31st of October, maybe there is a better chance of getting a deal done. Because if there is no Parliament, theoretically, there is no chance of getting a deal. So this is what I think what the market's thinking, and that's why the pound is a little bit higher today, like 0.3% versus dollar.
I'm not sure I agree very much with that logic, because from what I've seen, you know, they've spent most of the time when the Parliament is open trying to take out of the table the option of a no-deal Brexit. And
yeah, their main weapon, yes.
Taking that option off the table does two things. One, it diminishes the chance that they will have a Brexit on the 31st of October, right? And two, takes away, as you said, you know, the only perhaps negotiating card that they have.
Is that the 31st you said is when it's supposed to happen?
31st, yeah. What is it?
That's too
Halloween
weird.
or something?
Yeah, that's too weird. I actually have a hearing that day.
About?
Okay.
You know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
What a weird Halloween day.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of exit.
It's
a Megxit. It's a Megxit. Go ahead. What?
I just saw there was a headline. Johnson just said that now is the chance for us to get a Brexit deal. So Boris Johnson, remember when he was in the beginning, when he first stepped up as prime minister, he was very adamant, right? We are getting out. No, it doesn't matter how we're going to get out, deal or no deal. And now he's pushing for a deal. I mean, he did say a few days ago that he doesn't want a no-deal Brexit, that he would prefer to get some kind of a deal. So are things changing? I don't know. I mean, these.
Well, you know, it's annoying, but there's every single day I find a reason to remember one of the oldest jokes. When do you know that a politician is lying?
When?
Their lips are moving.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah. So things will get moving tomorrow. Starting tomorrow in the UK. Now, what's going to happen? I mean, I don't know. I've said this from beginning. Hold on one second. I still think in the last minute something will be put down on the table, good or bad. I have no clue, but I think no deal Brexit should be is something that both sides don't want. And remember, the Parliament has voted to exclude the no deal Brexit solution from the table. But again, we'll have to see how that goes.
I'm really very curious to see what's going to happen if no deal Brexit is on the table. I give it so little chance that we're finally going to get some type of a resolution on the 31st of October.
Yeah. And then remember, an extension also has to be voted unanimously.
Call me pessimist, but
yeah. So also people are talking about another extension. It has to be voted unanimously. 27 countries. You know, it's not a given. It's happened before, but it's not a given. So we still have more fun coming up with the UK. I bet you're happy about that, Steve.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wake up every day, and I'm praying for Brexit and US-China trade deal dramas.
Hey, Stell, I heard something on CNBC where they're, despite what goes on, they're trying to have all clearinghouses in the UK still, being able to work with the EU. So clearinghouses being like, where all trades and everything else settles and goes through. Do you know anything about that? And if they don't have any kind of coordination with clearinghouses between Europe and the UK, that could be a mess about trades being settled and everything.
Yeah, good question. I actually don't know what the status is with that, but I remember from the beginning they were saying that when the UK leaves Europe, the clearing is going to be one thing that's going to be moved out of the UK, right? You have so many clearing houses, and
Right.
I used to work for one. I used to work for Barclays, and
Right.
the default scenario was that this is something that the UK is going to lose, but I don't know how it's going to work. I really don't know what the framework is.
I mean,
So
to
that's a good
us,
question.
that means a lot for, guys that, and gals that trade the markets, because that could be a disruption in trading, period.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so, if we can't trade, I don't know what I would do. I'm sure
I mean,
I'm not going to go out and work construction at this stage.
there's going to be a lot of uncertainty, that's for sure. And hopefully, the whole concept about the deal is to take care of all sorts of details. And I fail to see how this is going to happen within, how everything's going to get sorted out within a month or what's left. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
My point of view, no matter how many extensions they get, unless they set a date and decide unanimously or vote for something that then makes it impossible to reverse, that when that date comes, doesn't matter if we've done 5% of the deal, 95% of the deal, 0%, 100%, settle down all details or nothing, we're leaving. If that doesn't happen, I think, my son will have grown old enough to be in university, and he's going to be asking me, so what do you think is happening with Brexit?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the largest Fibonacci extensions possible. So what is the largest extension in technical analysis?
Oh, I mean, Fibonacci is whatever you want. I mean,
20 times 1.618.
They extend in perpetuity. I don't know. I mean,
okay.
the highest you really see in charting tools is like 4 point something. I mean, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
no. Personally, I think that it doesn't really matter using anything above the 161.8.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I mean, very, very rarely I've used anything above like a 2 extension,
okay.
because then I think it matters.
It's not
very
tradable
little.
Then. It's parabolic.
Yeah, it matters very little, first of all, to the trading community, because not a lot of people will even go down to doing extensions like of that extent. So one of the reasons that technical analysis works, not the only one, but one of the reasons is
everyone uses it.
Common understanding that X or Y or Z thing is happening. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Stelio, anything else?
Just a tiny bit of data. We had German IFO business climate beat by 0.1, really absolutely nothing.
Doesn't really matter, yeah.
And UK CBI industrial trends orders, which was a big negative. But we've seen all these indices turn negative with the uncertainty as companies stop investments. It's all, everybody's like sit and wait to see what's going to happen with the whole Brexit fiasco.
I'm sitting here watching crude trade, and there's you can make an appointment. It makes me nervous when you look at a screen and you don't see any changes. You know, it just sits there and sits there. It's weird market structure right now, because
Very. It's like everything is suppressed. Everything.
yeah, I mean,
FX,
you know, it's like
stocks.
guys just standing there in the pit, and there's no bid or offer. And watch U.S. oil. Look
Yeah.
at how long in between trades that we have here. So you know, I was thinking of doing something there. It just, what for? You know, it's like saying, come
Here
on.
it is. I mean, we're still stuck. We're still stuck in this support area. So, you know, it remains to be seen. I mean,
But
you
look
know,
at the time
initially,
between trades. 08. Now it just went to 09. Back to 08.
yeah.
It's lousy. Oh, there. Now it's going fast market.
Now it's actually moving a little bit, yeah.
All right.
But yeah,
anyway,
we've stalled here for quite some time now, and
they're killing the business.
they are. But
Pisses
in
me
all
off.
honesty, I agree with you. But in all honesty, I don't think this can last for long. It's probably like the calm before the you know, the hurricane. Now, when
Okay.
is that happening? Who knows?
Yeah,
I mean,
the eye of the hurricane. Anyway, I'm
yeah,
gonna
it's like being in the eye of the storm.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna do a
but we'll
Rip
see.
Van Winkle. Wake me up when it starts again. Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Anyhow, well, let's start from crude since you mentioned it. This area is still important support. I mean, this 57.80 area, important support. Would have been nice to see a rebound from there. The fact that we've now spent, like, this is the 5th consecutive day that we're actually trading on this support makes me a little bit worried, because, you know, this is the type of trading you see before seeing another extension to the downside, in which case I would expect this trend line to be retested once again, which currently also confluences with the 61.8 at 55.40. So, you know, you want to be long, risk reward is in your favor. But if we actually lose this support area, I think we're going like $2 lower, and it should be quite fast. Crude is very, very much capable of producing such a move literally within half a trading day if it wants. So, you know, that is that. Now, we had a question about gold. Gold is backtesting important support resistance area here between 1520 and 1525. I think what happens from there will determine what happens in general and what kind of a structure we have here. So we're definitely in some kind of a correction, but keep in mind that corrections don't need to be necessarily corrections lower in price. They can end up being corrections, horizontal corrections in time. So yes, gold is consolidating its recent gains. I mean, we've had a big move from August of last year, when we were trading like at 1,160 to 1,560, right? I mean, that's a big move higher. But, you know, you can't be 100% sure what happens from here. If we get rejected from there, I think there's a good chance we're going to see one more leg lower, perhaps towards the 61.8 at 1460. If, on the other hand, we break higher from there, you know, it's quite easy that we can go ahead and tag the 61.8% fib at 1586 from the all-time high. Okay. Which, as you remember, it was in the middle of the European crisis. There you go. You see, we found a high September 2011. So it is what it is. We need to remain a little bit more patient here. As I said, I still favor one more leg lower, but it can end up being more horizontal consolidation before finally breaking higher. Needless to say, that especially if we just, like, you know, start correcting in time, that's going to be a big argument for expecting a bullish breakout, right? I mean, a market that after a strong move higher fails to correct lower much shows that, you know, bulls are still, they might be taking a breather, but they're still very strong, and, you know, they are in charge of the game. Now, Silver had quite a big day yesterday, undoubtedly. Much bigger rebound than what we saw in gold. We seem to be stalling at this horizontal support resistance area at 1850 roughly. So same deal here. I mean, we might pull back from here. If we do, the question is what kind of a pullback? One more leg lower, that can easily happen towards 1695. Alternatively, we might see something like this, right? Because that is also an option. And Gregor is going to give us his point of view quite shortly. I want to see what kind of a structure he expects, although, you know, you can never be certain of the corrective structure in advance, but I want to see what he would assume is the likeliest scenario. So we might end up seeing something like this. Okay, so we might not even go to new lows. We might end up consolidating more in time before eventually breaking higher. Keep in mind that the next upside resistance is above 21. Also keep in mind that silver has already broken quite a significant trendline resistance. And, you know, as long as it trades above that, there is a very good argument to be made about being bullish. I'm not going to even mention all the fundamental arguments for being long precious metals at the moment, with, if not all, the vast majority of central banks globally going again on an easing cycle and several economies sending out distress signals. So, you know, monetary expansion, always a good friend of metals. Now, nothing has really changed having to do with stocks. I mean, it's very annoying, but we remain trapped in this little consolidation in the S&P, still above 2960, which is an area of support worth mentioning, still below the previous high at 1327, 28, whatever it is. So, you know, we're just consolidating between those two boundaries. Of course, the more time we spend here without turning lower, the higher the likelihood that we're eventually going to break higher. Now, we had a question again about the DAX, so we can go ahead and look at the DAX. Here it is. So as you see, DAX, same deal. I mean, also consolidation near the highs, very likely a bull flag. So as long as we remain within this flag, another leg to the upside towards at least 12,650 is a very likely scenario before we end up seeing perhaps a deeper correction. Regardless, there's no real risk reward buying here, and unless you're a scalper and you want to go down to a 4-hour chart or even lower than that time frame. So, you know, you want to be long, you need to remain patient, because yeah, you can buy it here and it can work out for you, but where would you place your stop loss? So, I mean, of course, you can arbitrarily say that I'm going to place my stop loss below yesterday's low. Sure. But who tells you that we can't spike as we did yesterday? I mean, if somebody said the same thing yesterday, I'm going to go long and place my stops below this week's low that we had on September 17th. We had like a long lower week. Then yesterday they would have gotten stopped out without being in the wrong side of the market. That's why I said that you don't really have a solid support area that you can say, okay, I want to be long and my stop loss is there and my target then makes sense from a risk reward perspective. So, you know, you either, you know, remain patient or you buy a breakout, which would also be quite dangerous, because I'm assuming that the next move higher might be terminal for some time. I mean, this whole move higher then should probably produce some type of a larger correction for the market to reset before it can actually continue moving to the upside. DJ says oil weekly chart is interesting too. Okay, it's quite early on the day to talk about the weekly, but let's have a look at it since you mentioned it. There it is. Yeah, so far a spinning top. So yeah, last week's candle, as you see, also was quite interesting. I mean, we had like a huge upper wick. You can see it here. I mean, we had a huge candle in size, but half of that huge candle was that upper wick that we left behind, that shadow. And, you know, so far today in inside spinning top, you know, textbook indecision candle. And we see that even if we go down the daily chart, I mean, the market is definitely undecided on what it wants to do from current levels. I read yesterday that overnight repo funding is mainly for one big player in the US banking market, yet there is good reason not to name who it is. Is there anything to this in your regard? No, Ingmar, I'm not really aware of that. If there is one specific bank that is in desperate need of that funding.
Steve?
Yes, Elio?
We also need to note that the repo rate spike was last week. It happened for 2 days, and now it's back to completely normal. So
yeah, but the Fed within like 3-4 days, it had to inject like a huge amount of money for that kind of an operation, right? I mean, how much did they end up?
What was it? Usually it's a few billion, and now it was like 60 or something. I think
70. I think one day alone it was 75. Stelio. One of the 4 days it was 75, which is quite an impressive amount.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, was it the case of the treasury of a bank getting it completely wrong with their funding and, you know, just messing up, or was it something deeper? For the moment, it seems that whatever it was, it's completely gone and buried. But obviously, we'll never know.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know if we will never know, but I can tell you one thing for sure: it's quite tough finding out. I mean, I assume that there might be a lot of rumors and speculation, but you know, okay, what can we do with them? I mean, sometimes rumors and speculations are right, sometimes they're completely wrong. By the way, I don't know if you've noticed, since we talked about the Fed, I don't know if you've noticed how obviously the Fed's balance sheet has started getting inflated again without even having QE. I mean, Fed's balance sheet at some point almost reached 3.7 trillion. And next week that I checked it, we were back at 3.84. So Fed's balance sheet already inflated within like a couple of weeks by something like 100 billion. So, you know, that's quite interesting. I'm pretty sure that we've set in the low for this business cycle. I don't think we're going to see a lower balance sheet than 3.7. I think we're heading next, I don't know. I would assume something like 8 trillion. Let's see. USD NOK. Yeah, thank you for the question, because I did want to mention USD NOK. Probably USD NOK is one of the biggest movers since yesterday. And you'll see here why. Yesterday, quite a nice shooting star reversal on the daily. And so far today, we're producing continuation. We're retesting this 901 support resistance area. Quite an interesting rejection. This is also a case of what might prove to be some type of a horizontal consolidation, something like this. Right, let's see. Something like this. So let's wait and see. If that's the case, then it is likely that we'll end up seeing higher prices, but you know, not necessarily. I mean, I don't know if we're going to do something like this, or we're going to consolidate in time. Obviously, previous lows at 891, very, very important for us to determine what's happening here. As you see, and it's obvious in many charts, the market currently is very tough to read. And when is a market tough to read? When it's up, it's trading water. I mean, it doesn't do anything. We have things moving, you know, very little, moving horizontally, posting false breakdowns or breakouts, and you know, this is quite a horrible environment. Yeah, I agree with you, Grigori. For the time being, USD NOK looks quite bullish, and we were saying that for a long period of time. I mean, I was quite bullish the USD NOK when we were breaking above this multi-year corrective pattern. But I have to say that after breaking down from this ascending wedge, I was looking for a good opportunity to be short for a deeper pullback because we had already seen a decent move higher. But so far, this hasn't manifested. We seem to be consolidating. This knock is very painful. Whoop. Okay, that wasn't good. Give me a second because I just pulled the plug. Okay, coach, is my screen still up?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Steve.
Okay, because one of the cables here on my MacBook got
No, it's
pulled a little bit. Okay, cool. That's it about USD NOK. Never traded NOK though. Well, NOK is in generally a nice pair to trade in my opinion. USD yen keeps giving me hard time for days. Yeah, USD yen gives everybody hard time. I mean, first of all, it's not really moving fast anywhere. I mean, Blake correctly pinpointed, the confluence of resistances that got us rejected last week. But look at this. I mean, we are testing again and again this 107.40, 107.50 support area, and it's just not breaking. I mean, we're just sitting on top of it, doing more or less nothing. I mean, it is what it is. We had a little bit of a jump higher. Stelio, I don't know if you're still here. We did have statements, late night statements from Australia like a couple of hours ago about the US economy doing well.
By whom? I missed that.
The Australian economy doing well.
Is that because their prime minister is here? I think he's visiting the US.
I don't know, might be the case. Regardless, we've had a little bit of a jump in the Aussie, and as you see, second consecutive day for the Kiwi. So, would that turn me bullish? No, absolutely not. I mean, we've seen this type of false start several times. At some point, of course, it's going to be a true reversal. But, if you tried to assume that it was the reversal every single time, probably you've lost a lot of money already. So I do like, especially in the Kiwi, there are two things I like about this being a possible reversal. As I said before, though, it's a low probability scenario, right? Because it's a downtrend that has been going on for some time. But if you're really looking to trade it as a reversal, there are a couple of things going for you. One, look at the divergence. The Aussie stopped quite higher from the previous low. Actually, this is the second higher low. We had this low here, and then we had that low there, and now we have a higher low if we assume that we will continue higher, while at the same time, the Kiwi was producing lower lows. Okay, so Aussie still diverging from the Kiwi, and Kiwi's downside momentum seems to be waning. Testament to that is this RSI divergence you see on the daily. Now, take into account the fact that the Aussie Kiwi has been rejected from major confluence of resistances, which might tell us that the Kiwi might be ready to overperform for a period of time. And if all that happens, it is likely that we're going to see a rebound higher in the Aussie and the Kiwi. Now, how do you increase the likelihood that that's the case? Once again, I'm going to say that, especially having to do with the Kiwi, as long as we remain below 64 cents and 25, like this horizontal support resistance area, there is no real technical argument in being bullish. Now, breaking above that will do two things. First of all, we're finally going to be breaking above a significant area of resistance. Second of all, we're going to be posting a higher high, which we haven't done in a long time. So, unless I see Kiwi above 64.25, I will remain quite skeptical, having to do with what the Aussie and the Kiwi are doing. Our central bank governor had a speech today. Yeah, he did. He was quite optimistic about the Australian economy. I don't think the market expected him to be. that probably they expected more dovish comments. DAX we covered. Pound looks like so. But yeah, speaking about the pound, we were saying yesterday that okay, we do have a pullback in the pound, but what is that matters in this case is, there it is, 123.70. And specifically, I showed in the chat room this chart saying that perhaps we should also pay attention to this trend line resistance that might be acting as support. So as you see, I said yesterday, I don't know how significant this trend line is, given that 123.70, 123.80 wasn't far away, and we know even from the daily chart that that is a super important level. That was resistance until we finally broke above it. So a retest of 123.80, I think that at least initially should find buyers, but we never made it there. Perhaps it's this trend line to blame for that, as it seems it had some importance. So we're still above 123.80, which means that I still think that there is a decent likelihood that we're going to see higher prices. I think that above 123.80, in the short term, it's absolutely fine being bullish. Now, of course, I would put that in perspective simply because if you go on the daily, you're going to see that you can be bullish in the short term as long as we remain within this descending wedge. Because if we make it there, roughly 127.30, then we are testing the confluence of the 200-day moving average and this wedge's resistance. So I have to say that until we make it there, I think it's natural for somebody to be looking for more upside. You have the risk reward to do so at least, but I would be very careful from that level because a rejection is very likely. On the other hand, the breakout from there is going to be a very bullish event, and I'm pretty positive that it's going to squeeze market participants in a very, very respectable manner. Now, let's see about Gregor. Let me see if he's already here. Okay, not yet here. He should be any minute. Okay, so that's what I think about the pound. So in the short term, I remain somewhat constructive. Let me go through your questions. Those will go up now because I'm going home to Melbourne in 2 weeks' time. Okay. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, something else, Euro-Swiss. And the reason I wanted to mention the Euro-Swiss is to mention then what the USD Swiss is doing. So Euro-Swiss, following the horrible data we had from Germany, has been taking a tumble. There's no question about why, right? I mean, let's assume you had money in euro. You see the biggest economy going into a recession. There is a big likelihood that you're going to be like, okay, it's a good idea if I move some of my money to Swiss francs. So we've seen a respectable move, for the kind of moves that this pair produces. I mean, within like 3 trading days, we came down from above 110 to 108.85. Now I want to see what's going to happen from here because we're retesting this broken channel's resistance and support. If we rebound from here, all good and fine. If we retest the lows, it's very likely that they're not going to hold again, in which case we're moving lower. Now, as long as Euro-Swiss is moving lower, so as long as the Swissy remains quite strong, then you should expect the USD Swiss to move lower faster than Euro-USD is moving higher. In all actuality, this divergence has led to something that, it only happens for short periods of time. We've had, during the past few days, both the Euro USD and the USD Swiss moving in the same direction, lower, usually very, very tightly inversely correlated. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because due to the strength we've seen in the Swissy, the USD Swiss has managed to hold within this ascending channel despite Euro USD showing weakness. So imagine what's going to happen if Euro USD actually jumps higher. We're going to have probably a nice technical event here, breaking below this channel, in which case I would be looking for a continuation. Of course, it's a hard sell being long the euro at the moment. You have only one thing going for you, and that is risk reward and a very, very nice triple confluence of supports roughly at 1092. Okay, on the other hand, if you want to have the flip side, we've seen bad news which have failed to push euro to new lows. That's also a sign, right? I mean, we've got ourselves a decent amount of bad data and information, and yet we haven't seen a lower low. This to me is also some type of a divergence, right? Divergence between news and price action. That might be showing us something. Regardless, that's just a warning sign, because from the technical perspective, I'm monitoring this descending intermittent trend line. As long as we don't break above it, there is nothing to talk about bullish. But if we do break above that, I can see how we can get a squeeze towards that, this trend line, the descending wedges trend line. And as we said about the cable, if for some reason Euro USD breaks above that, I think market participants are going to be squeezed, in an impressive manner. I mean, I believe that above 113, we can see 118 faster than most believe. Question about the pound Swiss. Yeah. Both the pound and the Swiss have been rather strong during the past few days.
Is Grega coming on, bro?
Here he is. I finally see him now that you mention it.
Okay. Because there's only 13 minutes left.
Grega? Grega?
Yes. Hey.
There you go.
Hey,
I checked
Grega.
for you 5 minutes ago and I didn't see you.
Really? Because
Yep.
Again, you talk too much and looking at the charts.
You are late and you're trying to
Blame him. Yeah.
to blame me.
No, actually, I was here, but I have different mics. There are some workers just a few meters around, and I just had to put my headphones on actually and disable my desktop mic.
Hey, you know what, guys? My dog ate my homework on my way.
Oh my God, it did.
The wind, no, you know what? The wind blew it away.
Indeed. You're still doing work on your at your house.
Me?
Yeah.
No, that's on the other place. My house is almost finished.
Okay.
Actually,
Cool.
we just moved yesterday. Actually.
How's my room look, Grega?
Congratulations.
Grega, how's my guest room look?
Like a master room. Excellent.
Oh, okay.
If you will be in Europe anytime, there will be a place for you, no problem.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Empty. So pound Swiss, now nicely bounced so far. Look at 125.50 as a resistance, 122.50 as support. Grega, go ahead. You don't have a lot of time.
Yes.
Take the screen and take us over whatever you're looking for.
Will you pass me a screen?
No, I can't.
You have to, that green box, Grega, just scroll.
Yeah, there is like a, wait a second.
No, I can't.
Yeah, because.
Oh, you have to promote them. Promote them.
Yeah, done.
Okay, now you can
Done.
grab
Now
it.
you can.
Green box, share. There it
Green
is.
box. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay, so euro dollar, I mean, I really don't want to spend too much time here. It's still ongoing bearish price action, but this wedge and overlapping and keep bouncing from a new low. So it's really hard to trade this one.
It is.
So rather than euro dollar, I mean, even if you think that we really could see a bounce here, and maybe dollar will get weakened, maybe look at cable instead. I mean, on cable, we reversed from those lows in 5 waves. Waves 1 was extended, wave 2, then you have 5 subwaves for wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. We now fell below this channel support, so I think that new corrective setback is now here, but just a temporary one that will send us probably higher. So looking at the daily chart, this is this wave A that I see it as completed. So actually, I would not be surprised to see cable or pound in general doing much better than euro dollar. But I would pay attention again.
Yeah, that is the wedge I was showing as well, that trend line.
So firstly, let's see if we can maybe test this upper trend line. Also, what is very interesting that we have.
Keep in mind, Gregor, that the 200 daily moving average also passes from where currently the wedge's resistance passes.
Okay, perfect. And then you have also this former wave X swing low, which was later a resistance for this wave 4. And as you know, fourth waves are also very common reversal points. So for now, I would focus like more upside here for pound. Also, if we take a look on euro pound, we fell below some key support level here last week. It was 88.94. It was a quite aggressive move. Below that level, we even retested on the intraday charts a few times this level, and now again at the low. So I'm thinking that market actually wanted to tell us that this slack is finished and that we are turning bearish. So looking at the weekly chart to show the idea where we are, notice where this reversal actually from a new high occurred after probably market cleared some stops above this high.
Yeah.
So for me, it looks like a perfect ABC completion. And now if we respect what happens after 3 waves of recovery, it should be fully retraced, which means a market could actually even go back to retest this 2000. And
so you expect a lot more weakness here.
Yes, and I would maybe looking for to sell some strength here.
Okay, Gregor, last time I recall, you had a longer term, very bullish EG. Has that changed?
Actually, longer term, no. I mean, still, this is only a temporary correction.
Because I think you had it like over 100 or something long term.
Yes,
way up there.
Long term, yes. I think
Coach,
more
long term, we're all dead.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't have to. You don't have to remind me about that, buddy.
I mean,
I'm hoping for short term.
Nah.
Oh no.
Yeah. All right. Anyway. Okay.
The reason why we should stay focused on a bullish side once this correction will unfold is because these 2009 highs, still weren't taken out. You can see right there.
Okay.
Close, and now we are reversing. Also, this rise within this wave A was clearly impulsive, right? So I'm thinking that we still sooner or later may see these highs retested.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
Okay, so
just testing my memory. That's all.
Okay, so what's really interesting for today, I think that everyone should pay attention to gold. Before we go to gold,
gold is indeed at a very important resistance. I was showing that before. Very important.
So here we have this 10-year US notes. I covered this in one of our previous webinars. I said that we are reversing to the downside here, 10-year US notes in 5 ways, meaning that this is most likely only a corrective.
Yes.
What I really like is that actually we have seen a buying pressure on gold and the 10-year US notes on Monday. I really do not like to trust Monday flows. Normally, as you know, market through the week will make different swings. Okay,
I agree.
The same like through the day. At the start of the day, you may see red candles, but at the end of the day, you may see maybe even in close, even in.
By the way, let me add that the bonds more or less look the same as the treasuries. I mean, I also view the rebound in bonds corrective, so I think it is a sorting opportunity.
So
as well.
What I see here, based on correlation, is that dollar yen here at the bottom, which is in blue, obviously should in such case move to the upside, while gold could face resistance here. Now maybe gold for some is not such a clear bearish pattern because it didn't reverse to the downside so aggressively, but looking at the silver, I mean, just look at this formation. Okay, let me just hide some wave counts here. I mean, clearly this was a sharp rise, and then you have just a very fast temporary top, faster reversal to the downside, and looks like a top formation to me.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that yesterday's candle, I bet that yesterday's candle caught a lot of people off guard, and they might be trying to buy silver, you know, at a bad juncture.
Yes, at the very important key resistance. And as I said, I would really not trust flows on Monday. So, but from a trading perspective now, it appears it's actually trader's choice how they will approach. I mean, will you be very aggressive and put the stop loss at the highs? Okay, will you wait on a confirming price action, which means drop and then trying to catch the short with the stops above the completion of wave B or wave 2? If you are that kind of a trader that you want to make sure that you're on the right side, what you would have to do is probably watch out the daily candlestick formation. And since this was some kind of a bullish engulfing pattern, what you want to see, if you want to be short, you want to see that the previous, which means yesterday candles, yesterday bullish reaction should be fully retraced. That's the most important, what you want to see, because this will confirm the fact.
I was wondering before, probably you weren't on the webinar, if there is a chance, alternatively, although I do know that the first leg lower for both metals looks impulsive, if there was a chance that we might instead just consolidate in time instead of dumping lower. What do you think about that? Do you see a likelihood for that?
Yes, I mean, it's always timing. It's very, very important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, I mean, looking at gold and silver, I would say that based on timing and price that we are currently trading, we should really see a reversal by the end, let's say in the next 48 hours or so.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is really a very important decision point for sure.
Quick look at the S&P, Grega.
Yeah, what about the stall that we've had in the S&P? It looks like it wants to break out higher. I mean,
yes,
in the short term, this looks very corrective.
I'm still very careful what will happen here at this. I have this chart here. What is going to happen here at this trend line? Okay, that was broken. Mm-hmm. I'm not really convinced that this is really an ABC rise, but you know, stocks very often will rise very slowly, but decline very fast. So I'm still.
It's what we say: up with the
rocket,
up with the escalator, down with the elevator.
Yes, and even if we retest the highs, even spike to a high, I would not be saying, okay, we are bullish, we are very bullish. I would still be looking for a potential reversal lower.
So what is your main?
I think you had a 3065 chart up there. I saw a number, one of the charts you showed, Grega. It showed it going to new highs, and you had a 3065 in there.
You mean on longer term?
No, no, not that one. I think it's to the right. Count 2 more upside. That one.
Okay. Yes. Actually, what I'm looking at is 2 wave counts, because I still didn't got any very strong bearish reaction. If this lower trend line on my primary count would be broken, then of course I would be looking for aggressive sell-off. But since we are just chopping around here, I really have to respect what the market is doing and be prepared on more upside from here. So,
you have any numbers at where 5 could terminate?
Yes, I will give you my number. I had a plan to record a quick video today, so I will just give you an idea what I'm looking at. Always for the last year or so, if not more, when market declined and it turned to the upside, it broke to a new high, it stopped at 23.6%. Okay, so here was the first thing,
Yeah.
23.6%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you had again this decline. Okay.
Yeah.
Which occurred in May. You can see we touched the 23.6% before market came to the downside. So let's assume, okay, that this decline, which
That's
occurred
the same.
in July, will do the same. Okay, so 23.6.
3,100.
Yes, but that's not all. Okay, but
Okay.
we have also the major decline that occurred. It was here, and you have a 23.6 that comes in at the same level.
So what is that price? 30.98 or
So
what is
just let me do something here.
See, now that's not Elliott wave stuff you're doing. That's what's interesting. I mean, there's Elliott wave behind it, but you're using a different technique to come up with potential.
Exactly.
You're using extensions to come up with things.
Yes, of
And
course.
you notice a repetition of the same extension.
Yes, and that's
Very creative, Grega.
Yes, because markets are fractal, right? So
Right. Okay.
so I think that this is very nice, interesting levels where that is why I said earlier, even if we break to a new high, I would not be turning aggressively bullish. Why? Because each time when market broke to a new high, it reversed very sharply afterwards.
You know, what's interesting about 3,100, there was an ascending triangle on the daily when we broke out at 29.45 that measures 3,100 using conventional technical analysis, where you have that 100% line. If you just do the measurement from the low of the zero to where it broke out at 29.45, it measures 3,100. It was like a 70-point formation.
Nice.
Yeah, anyway, interesting. So it kind of validates a number I thought we could get to. Man,
Yes.
You're good. You know, you help me a lot. I'm sure, doesn't Greg help you guys out there? Sure helps me. Better sign up. Huh?
We have a question. We have a question which is rather interesting, Grega.
Mandy, thank you for your patience. We'll be wrapping up here in a minute.
Not that I care about it that much, but to be honest, from a technical perspective, it's quite interesting. Bitcoin has been consolidating for months now in a triangle. What do you think? We get resolution to the upside?
Okay, so actually on Bitcoin, I'm tracking two wave counts. The first is that we are now in this triangle for wave 4, and
that's what I'm monitoring. Yeah, the same thing.
Upside. But you also, because triangles can tricky and can occur in a wave B position, you also should be aware of this count, which suggests that.
Yeah, would suggest a C wave lower and then higher. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, so this would probably, I mean, what would really I love to see about this wave count is that we still see another push above 11,000. That would probably got a lot of interesting buying setups probably out there. And
yeah, because it will have broken. If that happens, it will have probably broken above the triangles resistance, and everybody's going to be buying it. Yeah.
Hey, Grega, how come the market is always trying to fool us?
Why the market is always trying to fool us? I mean, you know, it will always happen the opposite what the majority expect.
Yeah. Why does it make it so hard?
I mean, if you are one step ahead of the crowd and just trying to act differently, maybe you can still recognize the pattern and just take advantage of it.
Okay. Thank you, buddy. Really, record time. Got a lot of content out there. Appreciate it.
Grega.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Greg. Have a great week, partner.
You too. Bye-bye.
Everyone thank the Wizard of Waves, and now I'm bringing in Mandy. Mandy, it's been such a long time. I'm really looking forward to talking to you. And let me unmute you. Oh, what just happened? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Hi, Mandy.
Okay, there was something funny happened.
Okay. So if you scroll your mouse, you'll see a green share box.
Mm-hmm.
and then you could share your screen.
I have nothing to share.
Oh, okay. All right. Nothing. Okay. So let's
Why
talk
don't you
about.
grab the screen then,
Okay,
Coach?
Yes, yeah.
I'll do
Put
that.
something up so people can look at something. Kind of
Okay.
like TV, you need to stare at something.
Okay. How's this? All
Ah,
right.
that's wonderful. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a blue candle in Swiss. So
Yeah.
what's on? Great to have you back, Mandy.
Thank
You know,
you.
our conversations in the past, you talk a lot about psychology and kind of paradigms that people have that they bring
Mhm.
into their trading. What topic were you interested in addressing today?
So today I thought, and that's based on a few emails that I got throughout the last weeks from my traders. Traders, when it comes to mindset, to psychology, I see more and more that they focus on things that are completely irrelevant to trading success. And it's a tweet that I put out this morning as well. And my tweet was actually sparked by a trader emailing me, very, very upset that he was trading with someone, with a trading buddy. He saw a setup. He entered his setup. His trading buddy said, "Oh, but there is weakness," and this trader was wrong. And then yes, she is German. I am German indeed. So he saw this setup, traded the setup. The guy said, "Oh, there's weakness in the background." And then my trader started to doubt himself. He became uncertain, closed the trade out at a little loss. And then, of course, it went, it skyrocketed into his target and he missed out on a nice profit. And he was very upset about it. And I said to him, this is like being upset about the wind blowing off a sheet of paper from the table. I mean, this is just how human psychology works, what we humans are wired to. If you're a fairly new trader, of course you're uncertain. And the trick is not to not be swayed in your trading system, in your analysis, because it's incredibly hard. The trick is to protect your mind from being influenced in the first place. So if you trade with someone, tell them to not comment on your trade. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Who cares?
Yeah. So, people are always looking for a scapegoat.
Yes.
I was influenced. I read this tweet. When really, I say this to people, Mandy, we're all captains of our own ship.
Yeah.
So if you're the captain, you might have a first mate, you might have a crew, but you know what? It's always your responsibility. So do you tell them to take responsibility for being influenced?
Well, they
or are you
do.
too, or that's too much tough love?
No, I do tell them, and the thing is, they know that. He's like, I know it's my responsibility, but they don't feel it. So it's this incredible upset about it and being so down on himself. And I said to him, if it were your son, would you talk to him the way you talk to yourself right now? Like, I'm such an idiot. Why do I keep getting influenced? So, this judgmental self-talk, which doesn't help at all. Because that is not solution focused and results oriented. It's just, I feel really bad and I need to get rid of this poison in my mind, in my body. So
how about magnifying one trade being too important? And how about maybe he went to the doctor a month ago and the doctor gave him a clean bill of health? You can't buy that with a winning trade.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about perspective?
I love perspective, exactly. So there is this book I just started reading. It's really cute. It's something like stories of a rickshaw driver, like those an Indian taxi driver.
Yeah.
And it's a book from, I think it's a German Indian who studied medicine here or psychology here in Germany. And it's a collection of stories, and it's kind of personal development put into little stories, into little metaphors, so that they're being easier understood. And one of the stories is that he's having a little rickshaw and he gets a girl comes into the taxi, and he says, "Where do you want to go?" And then he takes her to where she wants to go, and he sees that she keeps staring in the mirror, and she has a pimple in her face. And he also notices that she's got the most beautiful face, the most beautiful eyes, flawless skin, just this one pimple, a beautiful mouth, like just so pretty. But she keeps staring on that pimple. And then he says to her, you know, you don't see how pretty your face is because all you do is you stare at that pimple. And this is what traders do, you know? They don't see how they are, and that's what you talk about, perspective, how they are really great in so many areas. All they look at is how they're sucked in that moment. Now, the point is also...
Did he take her out for dinner?
It didn't say in the book. I don't think he did. That would be a beautiful ending, right?
Yeah, and they fell in love and they pulled the rickshaw together. Or if it's an American couple, she still sat in the rickshaw and he pulled it.
Oh, I love that.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, the thing
Not
was,
all American couples are like that.
I just want to say I want to find myself an American man now, you know, who with my rickshaw.
All right.
So, but the point is, you know, I said to him, you saw this entry, you saw the setup, you saw the trade was a great trade. But then it comes also to realistic expectations. Let me just answer this question from Patson. What's the name of the book? So it's a German book. It's Der Rikscha-Fahrer, der das Glück verschenkt. In English, it would mean the rickshaw driver who gives happiness as presents.
Oh God, what?
It's very pretty. And the title, the author is, oh my God, Bion Kattilathu. So Kattilathu. And so what the point was with my trader was also the unrealistic expectation of what his mind and body is capable of. We are human, and any research you look at shows how easily we are influenced. It's like, you know, everywhere there's been so much research, and then there's this unconscious influence thing. If you look at the book Thinking Fast and Slow from Daniel Kahneman, who writes all about how we are being unconsciously influenced in our buying decisions. You look at Darren Brown, who did this little video, which I posted on Twitter, about how he influenced a marketing team in how they created the marketing. So the colors, the words that they used, he influenced them on the way to the office by driving past a group of schoolgirls who wore a certain color blue, and that certain color blue then appeared in their marketing piece. And so what we need to do, and this is what I learned from Linda.
Subliminal stuff, huh?
Yeah, exactly, subliminal stuff. And this is what I learned from Linda. I just laughed because my pimple was trying to short the decks, what Ingmar writes. Very funny. So this is what I learned from Linda. So Linda Rushke, right?
Yeah.
Linda is so aware of her shortcomings. She does not try to conquer them. She does not try to eliminate them. She does not try to be different. What she does is she tries to work with them. So she knows she has not much attention to detail. She's a big picture visionary. And that's how she can look at 10 different markets and sees how they influence each other, how they correlate with each other, and then can make 1-minute buying decisions based on all of that. It's just, her mind is incredible. And so she says, my mistake or my shortcoming, my weakness is executing my trades. I have made so many execution errors. That's just crazy. So she has an assistant, Kyle, who is an awesome guy who executes the trades for her. She also has she has a separate keyboard that has hotkeys so that she can't mistype numbers. You know, she would maybe, instead of doing 100 lot, she would put 1,000 lot or something, right? Something silly. So now she has just one button that she needs to press in order to have that order executed.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
Yeah, so, and this is what I really got from her. It's like, don't fight your weaknesses. Be realistic about the possibilities of the human mind and how weak we are, how weak our human mind is. And work with it. Don't expect yourself not to be influenced. Expect yourself to be influenced, and then be sure that you protect your mind from that.
Interesting. How do you protect your mind from that?
So, yeah, so number one, you become aware of your own shortcomings. So, as you know, I'm a big fan of the DISC profile, where you look at what your natural preferences are and how you interact with the world. If you're a big picture, small picture, if you naturally are someone who looks forward, or naturally someone who looks has a lot of regret. I want to tell a little story about it, which was really interesting. So I was trying to catch a train with my brother. My brother was running late. I was already at the train station. It's not train, it was the tram in Munich, the S-Bahn. And so my brother, of course, he was running late, and he was already at the, you know, where the at the station. But and he waved to the tram driver, but the tram driver still drove off. And I was so angry, because all he had to do was open the door and let my brother in. And I was so angry, and I said to my brother, I can't believe he did that. And my brother said, I've already forgotten it. Don't worry about it, right? It's just he was a prick. You know, that's all.
Yeah.
And so my brother, he's a high D, right? Super successful. And I believe that one part of, or one influence of him being so successful is that he never looks at regret. You know, he forgets the past immediately. He's just forward looking, or in the present, and just does what needs to be done. Whereas I was for a very long time, and still am, someone who has a lot of regrets, right? And I keep looking at the back and the past.
Yeah.
And this is, for example, one awareness where, oh, okay, this is a habitual way of thinking that I have that I can transform. So when I was then there thinking this tram driver was an idiot and he was mean, that's not fair, to say, hey, you know, it's okay, don't worry about it. Just look
He's
forward.
just doing his job.
Yeah.
Trying to be on time.
Exactly. We have no
Instead
idea
of
what was going
personalizing
on.
it. He didn't see your brother wave.
Well, he would have seen my brother. My brother was just right next to that. But that's not the point, right? As you say, maybe he was just doing his job. He had to go. Like, we don't know what was going on in this guy's mind. Maybe
we think we do.
Yeah. And we make it all
and
about
we never
ourselves.
do. Yeah.
As you just said.
Okay.
Yeah, make it all about ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's an example how you protect your mind, where you're like, oh, you know, I just personalized this, and it's not about that. Who cares? Move on. Was one trade.
Next, you know, I have people, when I mentor them, I say the most important word for a trader is next. Win, lose, or draw. Next is kind of diminishes what just happened, and you stay focused on what's happening now. So it's kind of like athletes. They make a mistake on the field. If they dwell on the mistake, they make it again. If they just, like your brother, say, well, you know, it's a bad play, but you know, this play is going to be great, and they don't dwell on it. I mean, how many quarterbacks come into the huddle and go, hey guys, I know I'm lousy today. That was a terrible interception, before he calls the next play. They don't do that.
And that's really what I believe also, what makes the difference between high-performing athletes and non-performing athletes, the ability to stay present, to not being in the past, regretting the past, to not being in the future, being afraid that they miss, but to just be present. And this is where I believe mindfulness and meditation is so useful as well, because that is what helps us being present, right? Or prayer is the same thing, right?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, I do plenty of that. I used to do TM. What form of meditation techniques do you use?
So I do a lot of mindfulness, so practicing being the present. And I just do simple sitting down and just focusing on my breath. So I would use
Right.
a lot of breathing techniques.
Okay.
I just see that.
Do you do this while you're in a trade?
No.
Okay,
No.
so this is
Yeah.
after you're out of the market, or you're away from your.
Exactly.
You don't intertwine looking for that calmness. You have to just like you prepare trades, you prepare your mind before you go into the battle.
I believe that it takes, and I have no proof, that's just a personal belief, that it takes a different frequency of the brain to be focused when you're in the trade than when you meditate. I don't want to be in a meditative state when I'm trading. I want to be like fully switched on, right? I want to see everything.
Okay.
And,
all right.
But that's just a personal belief, has no foundation, no proof, okay? I'm a big fan of facts and figures, so. I also see a question here is how to keep emotions out of trading. It is very hard. Of course it's hard because you're human. So that's one of the things I was just saying before. This trader of mine who expected that he would not be influenced by his trading buddy. It's like, of course you are. It's like the wind is blowing the pieces of paper off the table. You can't keep emotions out of trading unless you are a psychopath. So I hope you're not a psychopath. And so it's about working with your emotions, and that is where mindfulness and meditation comes in, to be really focused, to be really aware of your emotions. And so I was working with another trader. He said he just can't find his rhythm. He goes long, this thing drops. He goes short, this thing goes up. And then, you know, he was really something upset him in his personal life, and he just couldn't, you know, have you ever felt like when you felt like disconnected from yourself, like there was this gap inside, this emptiness?
Yes.
So this is how he felt. And I believe when we have this disconnect within us, we can't make good decisions. That's when we don't have a rhythm, when we keep chasing trades, because we are out of whack. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you know, I want your thoughts, because I tell people when they're in a health or emotional, mental crisis, that they should not trade.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I would generally speaking say yes. However, I have just recently met a trader. He went through a separation, and he started learning trading at the time, which was several years ago, and he traded so well that he was able to build a property portfolio from trading. It's massive, right? I've never seen that. I've never heard of that. So now
during the separation, he was able to do
during the separation. But you know what the driving force for him was? He wanted to build a great future for his children.
Okay.
So,
so the motivation, not to show his spouse that how, you know, what she's going to be missing.
No.
That's a negative emotion, but
yeah.
To build a future for his children and a legacy, which is a positive thing that you're trying to accomplish. It's not revenge.
No, not at all. So what then happened, of course, was that that years later, now that the divorce seems to be going through, that she gets half of everything, and he's very bitter. And when he heard this, that's when his trading started to go out of whack. Interesting, huh? Because now it's like, that's not fair. Now the pain starts, not when the separation was. That his wife gets half of the work that he has, or the property portfolio, the assets that he has accumulated for the children.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Sounds like California.
Yeah, it's in America indeed.
Okay, community property state. You can't fight that. So, anything else you want to cover? I mean, I could talk to you for hours, Mandy. In fact, I'm laying down on the couch right now while I'm talking to you. So you can't charge me. I do an interview. and then I get to ask all the questions are really all about myself, and
Yeah.
I'm pretending is someone someone I know, and and I know thyself. I know thyself. So,
Yeah.
anything else you want to cover that would be a pearl for people to take forward into this new trading season? Anything
Yeah.
about a change of a season? Again, here we are, summer is gone. Let's not regret that summer is gone. Let's look forward to what fall has to offer us.
Well, I have to say, Dale, I have spent 3 months in America and Europe enjoying the summer. I was 1 month in
Nice.
Chicago with Linda, 2 months here in Germany and Switzerland. And so now I'm going back to Australia in 2 weeks' time and have my summer there. So I'm not
Nice.
complaining.
You have like the endless summer.
Yes.
Huh?
The
Well,
only thing the only thing I complained about is that the Aussie dollar kept dropping and my trip became more and more
oh
expensive. So that
yeah,
was not okay.
yeah, you should have been hedged and bought a lot of cable. Well, I don't know, what could you have bought? Just dollars, I guess, to have hedged your vacation. But next year, maybe you'll be out in California and San Diego. This is where we came up with the term, the endless summer.
I
So,
see.
Mandy, it's always a pleasure,
Thank you so
talking
much.
to you and hearing what you have to say. And you're a very nurturing force in the FX trading community in what's
Thank you.
can do violence to a soul because of how we worship and magnify the importance of money.
Yes. You know, one last thing, I'm just reading a really interesting book, again, a German who was a top manager, and the title is Guilty from Success and Failure. And this guy was, so successful. He was sharing the stage with, Bill Gates, and he was a friend of the former President Bush. And so he ended up in jail, lost everything, fame, fortune, family, and his health. He lost his health in jail through heart problems. And then he wrote this book about how did he end up there, what happened. And this may be one last thing that I want to give, for our FX community as well, where it was this intense need and this intense search for acknowledgement and approval and love that he was seeking from the external world, because he didn't have it inside of him. He felt so lonely. And the more successful he became, the lonelier he felt. And I see that in traders too. And so one of your boys, Petson, asked, how do one reconnect? You need to find a way to get approval and acknowledgement and pride of yourself from within yourself first. I say that in one sentence, which took me like 20 years. So I'm not saying it's easy, it's a journey, but every day a little bit.
That's beautiful. All right, so yeah, I know. I can see that in myself where I used to need it. I think that's also one of the reasons I used to, even though I loved to sing, I loved the attention that I got getting up there, and people would stop eating and actually pay attention to me singing Kentucky Rain or Purple Rain. And the last several years, I just haven't had the same desire to, go out and need for people to, have my ego fed that way. So I don't know what happened. It's nothing intentional I did. I just don't feel that same desire to get validation from strangers anymore.
I think my personal view is that when we have found peace within ourselves, then we don't need that external anymore.
Okay, beautiful.
And for me, it's more of an acknowledgement when someone says my trading changed because I got this one tip from you. Then if someone says you're amazing, like I really don't care. It's not important to me. But if you say my life changed, that
that I tell you, that's a rewarding part of mentoring people. And I want to wish you a lot of good fortune in finding a good American man.
Thank you so much.
He really, you know, he'd be very lucky. And I'll give you a tip. I'm in a separation heading for divorce.
Oh, Dale, we have to meet.
Yeah, we have to at least have dinner sometime. How about that?
Yes,
All
and you
right.
have to sing, and you have to get a rickshaw.
You'll be, yeah. We'll take the rickshaw to the Coyote Bar and Grill, and I'll do a little Elvis for you.
And life is good. That's all that counts, huh?
Life is
all
good.
The best for you in your separation, and may it all
Yes.
play out with peace and love and mutual respect.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's
All
where I
right.
want to be. That's my goal.
Yeah.
And Mandy, thank you so much for
Thank
hanging
you.
out with us and another therapeutic interview. My
All the
trading
best.
warrior, my trading warrior sister. Okay, everyone, that's a wrap. So everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm just looking for end the meeting. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Having Mandy with us today, in my opinion, was a blessing, and you should, where can people follow you? Mandy, do you have a website now?
I have tradingpsychology.com.au, or on Twitter is mpx_trader.
May this fall pips rain down on you like a monsoon in India.
Wonderful, wonderful.
All right, Mandy. Adios.
All right.
Take it
Adios,
easy.
muchacho. Bye.
Bye. See you guys. See you, face. You're welcome.